Dental Fuel, the podcast that focuses on what no one else is talking about: mistakes. The dental world is full of before and afters, and no one is talking about the middle. Dental Fuel brings you the unspoken in between. Dental Fuel is brought to you by 90 Day Jumpstart, a program to help you increase production and break free from financial stress. Team dynamics can be challenging as a new practice owner and new dentist. Dr. Gabriela Flores is back sharing some insight on how to build a successful foundation for teamwork in dentistry. Now, moving from working at a DSO to now your own practice, working in teams, we know, is the foundation of how we practice dentistry. Well, first of all, I'd like to know any mistakes that you've made, either with your team that you had at the DSO or now that you have in your own clinic, and how you've grown from that, but also the importance that you've seen in building your own team as you start to build your own practice.
Number one mistake with dealing with staff that I've made is the violating the rule: hire slow, fire quick.
Great rule.
Yeah. The second you feel like that person needs to be fired, fire them. It doesn't matter. Hold your own suction if it's your assistant. Answer your own phones if it's the front desk. I mean, you can end up just doing more harm, and even emotionally, you're doing more harm to yourself. You're leading that person on. That's for sure. And then the hire slow. Take your time, and also always be hiring, always be interviewing. I'm always open to talking to people if someone seems like a great candidate, because you never know if that person can come back around one day. I would say that's the number one mistake I made, was firing too slow and hiring too quick.
I follow Gary Vee. I don't know if you know who Gary Vee is.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, yes. I would hope most people do.
I would hope so. If you don't, you should.
Oh, he's great from a business aspect, but I think that he gives great just information and advice in a world aspect and a life aspect. But that's one thing that I've heard him say several times is hiring slowly and knowing when to fire, firing quickly. And, just accepting that reality that sometimes you make a mistake in hiring the wrong person, but knowing to let them go so that way you can bring somebody who is a better fit in your life and your practice, I think is so huge.
Absolutely. And from experience, I have found that as long as you're putting the right people in the right seats, patients will get over it. I had to fire staff of 25 years, right? Oof. So, and then I replaced with amazing staff. Mm-hmm. So very friendly
Worth
people.
The trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah. They were great. It was just, I have to build my team for the next 25 years. And also nowadays, to build a 25-year team, you have to realize that's probably not going to happen. So you kind of have to let your patients know. They'll try to be nosy, but people who are excellent are usually going to be people who are trying to find that next step. Mm-hmm. So It's very hard to find someone who's amazing that's not looking for growth, because someone who's settling is not going to be amazing. So it's just, I don't think that it's right to think about dentistry. You don't want high turnover, but at the same time, I don't think that you should be thinking about that person that they're like, is this person going to be here for 20 years?
Right.
If they're really great, you should hope that you can help them get to that next step and get to either whether with you or whether in a big organization or somewhere else. And I'm okay with that. And being okay with that makes it a lot easier. But as long as your energy, what's most important among everything is your energy with your team, and patients will feel that. So if you fired that person and you're scared that they're going to be like, oh, patients are going to judge me, they're going to judge you more that you're in bad energy with your staff than if you fire someone and bring in a good energy. Because one of the first things people say when they come into my practice is, oh, the energy is so good in here. Oh, you guys work so well as a team. Because again,
patients
can
do
amazing class ones. Patients do not know how good your feeling was. What they know is how they felt when they sat in your chair and when they left. That's all they know. How Very they true. Felt with you, how they felt with your team. Of course, you should do good work, but they don't know. They don't know how beautiful if you stained the grooves. They have no idea. They have no idea. You show them like the bite wing after you sealed that perfect box. And
yes.
They're like, I don't know what I'm looking at.
Always love to show them. And they're like, okay, cool.
look at this, look how I sealed that. Look at how,
Yeah.
oh my Garrison matrix. And they're like, what?
Yeah. They're like, okay, yeah. Am I good
Like,
to go?
did it cause me pain? Was it
Exactly.
fast enough?
Yeah,
Did I get to
I
watch
know.
TV? Like how,
Right.
like, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
that's what they care about.
What qualities do you look for when you're building your team?
Attitude. The rest you can train. I honestly, experience is great, but attitude is everything. How they handle themselves in situations. I love going to dinner with staff as well to see how they handle themselves at a restaurant.
Yes.
And seeing how they are with their spouses as well is important, especially if it's a higher level position. You want to see what their dynamic is with their spouse. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, I didn't do it once and I regretted not doing it. So I would say that attitude is everything. The rest you can train. Even if I have to invest in training, don't cheap out because you cannot train attitude. So if they came in, I do always a working interview, and if they vibed well, and if throwing them in kind of, obviously I don't leave them loose and make them feel lost, but if they handle things well, or if they learn well or take feedback well, that's most important.
I think that's great. I love the idea of watching their interactions out of the office, because I think that that's really telling. You know, it's almost like going on a date, right? You see how your date is responding to the staff that's providing you care or food, you know, at a restaurant, and I think that's very telling about a person. So that's so interesting that you did that 100%. With your team. I think that it's really important to see, you know, how they respond there, and it'll show you how they respond to your patients as well too. That's really telling.
I'll tell you something funny, actually. All of my staff came from either they reached out to me, they were recommended to me, or I knew them from before. And only one of them I actually got, I found her resume online, but she had already worked with my hygienist. So I got the recommendation beforehand, and my hygienist was like, oh, she's available, you should bring her in.
Ooh.
So that's why I say always have your feelers out, always seem welcoming and open. And another thing I do that is like a little secret-ish, not going to be secret anymore, is technically it's not what you're looking for in your staff, it's what you're projecting to your future staff. So I always make sure that my social media, my website, my energy is put off there as well. And that's why I had people reach out to me for jobs, and I ended up getting great staff because of that. I have an amazing assistant that she contacted me asking. Ooh. I wasn't even really hiring, but I spoke to her and I loved her, and I was like, you have to come on. And she found me because she liked my Instagram, she liked my website, and she said, this seems like a place that I would enjoy working. So the good candidates are more likely to either reach out to you or interview with you or accept your interview if you have a good appearance. So whenever I would reach out to someone for something, I would say, check out our Instagram and our website, and put the links in that email or text message that I would send out.
I think that when people reach out to you who are interested in working, you know, with your group, with your team at your practice, they value you already. And I feel like where a lot of people are struggling now, you know, granted, it is hard to find good quality team members, is that the struggle is that they're out there looking and they'll take whatever they can get, instead of those who are being proactive and want to grow in their career, seeking out offices that they want to be in and showing value into what they're coming into already. So I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, we all want high value employees, but we have to show our value too. It goes both ways. That's the culture. And I learned this also by watching a lot of people online, especially because there's a lot of hygienists that are active online. So I'm always scoping these things out, and I see that the culture is, I mean, obviously not everything is always right on either end. It's a very difficult dynamic, but I see what's out there, and I see that people want to work somewhere that they feel fulfilled. So how do you expect someone to give you their all if you're not providing the environment for them to do so? Yeah.
Yes. Lots of pearls here. I'm really enjoying this conversation. This is excellent.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Dental Fuel. Be sure to tune in next week where Dr. Flores shares some expert advice with us. Trying to reach your goals faster? 90-Day Jumpstart can help you along the way. Check it out at ignitedds.com.